A 122-room hotel of modern architectural design located here on Highway 45 North is being built by Wellington Construction Company of Columbus and is owned by a local investment firm. It's the third Hilton to be built in Mississippi, with the other two located in Biloxi and Jackson. Currently, there are 183 Hiltons operating nationwide and 76 internationally. The most unique aspect of the four-story structure is the interior lobby, which is of natural wood design. The hotel itself has meeting rooms, a disco lounge, a garden restaurant, patio rooms, and an outdoor swimming pool. The biggest question to be answered about the new facility is why and how did Hilton decide to locate here in Columbus, since most of their hotels are located in much larger cities. According to a Hilton spokesman in Atlanta, a marketing research team came to Columbus to evaluate the current hotel accommodation demand. And after completing their evaluation, which included a close examination of air travel into Columbus, local industry, and the condition of local highways into the city, the company decided that there was indeed a strong demand for more hotel accommodations, and thus agreed with the local interest to locate here in Columbus. According to a Hilton spokesman, the $2.4 million hotel should be completed by September 1st. Reporting for News 4, I'm Dan Black. The Mississippi Fuel and Energy Division says gasoline supplies will be tight during the Labor Day holiday period, but Pete Wally, head of the division in the new Department of Natural Resources, says there should be enough gasoline for essential services. The tight supply prediction is based on the holiday falling at the end of the month, after many service stations have used their August allocation. The September allocation probably will be delivered next week. The American Automobile Association said a survey of 115 Mississippi service stations showed more than half will be closed on Labor Day. A few others will remain open if supplies permit. The survey showed a greater percentage of the closed stations are along the Gulf Coast. Officials advise motorists to limit their driving to the daytime hours and, if at all possible, to do most of their driving on the interstates, where gasoline stations will most likely be open. Reporting for News 4, I'm Dan Black. Is a chimney, and this is a chimney sweep, complete with black suit and black top hat, the traditional clothing of a real live chimney sweep. The modern-day chimney sweep's name is Clarence Brooke, who until recently was in the retail sales business, but decided to try something different. How did Clarence get into the chimney sweep business?
And I got into it really by a stroke of luck. My brother-in-law saw the equipment at a trade show, and he knew that I was wanting to get into something on my own that didn't take your life savings to get into, and it was unique, and I decided that I'd give it a try. If I went broke, then I wouldn't lose a whole lot. I'd lose, but I wouldn't lose a whole lot.
Clarence is serious about his work. He even has an ad in the newspaper to draw attention to his one-man chimney sweep operation. According to Clarence, most people who have fireplaces don't realize what a fire hazard a clogged up chimney can be.
1975 National Fire Association, Protection Association had figures stating that there were 15,600 fires or more in the United States that year, and that they did over $23 million worth of damage.
With the increasing cost of energy and more people building fireplaces in their homes, you can expect to see more chimney sweeps. And you may even get a chance to see the man with the black top hat, Clarence Brooke. Reporting for News 4, I'm Dan Black.
This is News 4 with Pat Lynn, Brenda Chapman, and Ken Anderson.
Good evening, I'm Dan Black. Governor Cliff Finch praised construction efforts on the Tin-Tom Waterway today as he and the Board of Directors toured the project from the air. Finch and the directors toured the north and south ends of the waterway in National Guard helicopters. Here's a report. Residents living near the intersection of Highway 45 North and Blue Cut Road here in Columbus gathered at a meeting today to express their concern about the traffic congestion problem at the intersection. Pete Webb was at today's meeting and files this report. Authorities in Jackson say they're holding 47-year-old C.B. Alexander without bond on murder charges and the weekend beating death of his 26-year-old wife. Officials say Alexander was arrested yesterday after his wife, Nolly Alexander, died of multiple head injuries. In other news, Republican Attorney General candidate Charles Pickering says he would withdraw from the race if he thought the Attorney General could do nothing about corruption in state government. Pickering said in a Civic Club speech in Jackson today that it is time to stop winking at corruption, waiting for federal grand juries and federal prosecutors. He says it's time to start prosecuting corruption in the state of Mississippi. Authorities say a Jasper County man is charged with bank robbery after a lone gunman stole an undetermined amount of money today from the Bank of Bay Springs. Sheriff Tom Green says 21-year-old David Simmons of near Lewin was arrested by officers about 4 hours after the robbery in a wooded area east of Bay Springs. Green says authorities recovered about $90,000 believed taken in that robbery. Rather than using the voter turnout in Noxubee County was extremely good today, according to voting officials. Those officials say 65 to 70% of the registered voters came to the polls to vote. There are 4 races that seem to be attracting the most attention: the circuit clerk's race, the sheriff's race, the superintendent of education's race, and the 40th district state representative's race. The most interesting aspect of all 4 is that there is a black running against a white in each of the 4 races. In the sheriff's race, Democratic incumbent Cecil Russell is running against Gus Johnson, who is a black independent. In the superintendent of education race, Democrat Reese Dixon, who is black, is opposed by independent Monroe Beard. In the 40th district state representative race, Democrat Tyrone Ellis, who is black, is running against Republican Jeffrey Jolly. And in the circuit clerk's race, Democratic incumbent Tommy Carton is running against a black independent Theodore Washington. There is some speculation that the large voter turnout may be attributed to the number of blacks on the ballot and the fact that Noxubee County is 60% black, which could mean the blacks on the ballot could defeat their white opponents if enough blacks go to the polls. From the Noxubee County Courthouse in Macon, Dan Black, News 4. The price on the gasoline pump has forced many motorists to drive more conservatively. Statistics show there is less driving now than there was a year ago. More people are walking rather than using the automobile unnecessarily, and others have found other modes of transportation, such as the bicycle and the motorcycle. All of this has caused a giant increase in the sales of both bikes and cycles.
Well, I'd say it's just been tremendous. It's so many people that I didn't know that even would think about a bike has been coming in, prominent people coming in buying bikes.
All age groups?
All age. Christmas times, gifts, and riding the road and everything.
What kind of sales have you been having over the past 4 or 5 months? Have you noticed a big increase?
Quite a big increase on account of the gas. Everybody wants to get something at the gas. It won't take so much gasoline, and they're really over the cars as far as gasoline consumption.
Well, the average size bike that seems to be selling, how many miles to the gallon can a person expect to get?
Well, I'd say from an average of 50 to 75 on the road bikes.
And how do the prices range from the most economical to the biggest bike?
Well, our biggest bike runs about the mid-30s, 3,500, something like that. The Gold Wing, that's king of the road as far as Honda's concerned.
Government officials say they don't expect gasoline prices to go down or supplies to increase. So it looks as though Americans of all ages will be biking and cycling their way into the 1980s. For News 4, Dan Black.